AmRRON. AmRRON stands for American Reloaded Radio Operators Network and is a nationwide disaster preparedness network made up of patriot-oriented radio operators.
Hi everyone, John Jacob Schmidt here from AmRRON and Radio Free Redoubt. Might notice something a little bit different about this AmRRON video. I've normally not gone on video or shown my face or anything like that, but this is a different era that we're in, and I think it's time to take AmRRON to a new level. AmRRON Reloaded, or rebooted, if you will. And I thought that this would be more personable, and right now I think that we are in a new era in the sense that we're grateful that President Trump is in office, and we're grateful for many of the good things that are happening. But there are adversaries that want to destroy the republic. Some of them are in the country now. Some of them are without and planning for it. In my humble opinion, as grateful as I am for President Trump, they are not going after the deep state like they need to. And I think that we have some really serious challenges ahead. And I think that we need to, as patriots, preppers, we need to start thinking a little bit differently. There are invariably going to be more subscribers joining the channel. So just to introduce myself, for those of you who may not know who I am, most of you know me as John Jacob Schmidt from Radio Free Redoubt, which began in 2011. So here we are, 14 years, almost to the date. June 5th was our very first podcast in 2011. About a year later, we started AmRRON. I am a Desert Storm veteran. I served with 5th Special Forces Group and then 3rd Special Forces Group as a radio operator. And when I started Radio Free Redoubt, looking at the landscape out there, I thought, if there's a major collapse or some type of an event that disrupted conventional communications, the patriot community has no standardized plan for linking up with other and finding other like-minded people on the air, being able to coordinate with and respond to a major grid down type of situation. So I started AmRRON in early 2012, and so now that's going on almost 14 years as well. AmRRON is a patriot-oriented emergency communications network for disasters and civil defense. It is not a ham radio network, although most of our operators are licensed amateur radio operators. But they think a little bit differently. They look toward a situation maybe where our country is faced with perilous challenges, where your amateur radio skills might come into play, but you're not exactly a ham radio operator at that point. That's the civil defense side of the house, if you will. Otherwise, we've responded to numerous real-world emergencies over the past 10 years, 11, 12 years, and we've literally saved lives doing that, and it's very rewarding. Because of the challenges ahead, I think that we should adopt the motto, nobody is coming to save us. This is on us. The Founding Fathers are not going to climb out of their graves and come to the rescue and tell us how we should fix this mess. This is on us. In our generation, it rests on our shoulders. And our contribution to preserving American founding principles, like our Constitution, is by providing emergency communications or unconventional communications. That's our role. Now, there are a lot of very widely respected resources out there that we turn to, and I'm sure I'm not going to mention all of them that are out there that are worthy of mentioning, but there's off-grid ham radio with Julian, OH8STN. And then we have the Tech Prepper. Awesome dude. He's doing some great things and making great strides in helping the non-techie person get up to speed with some of the tools that are available that makes us even that much more effective. He handles really the technical side of emergency communications and does an amazing job. Comms Prepper, another one. He's trying to do a really good job with practically helping folks in a real practical sense get their comms up and get operational. And then there's KM4ACK, one of all of our favorites. Very great and humble guy that we just love. And many of you do too and follow him. Super helpful with the technical side of emergency communications, ham radio, the software. All these guys are just really, really wonderful. So he's obviously one of our favorites we follow. And NC Scout. I would say if I had a twin, it would be NC Scout over at Brushbeater, the voice of the Appalachian Redoubt. But he's doing great things, putting on great training and helping folks address. Actually, probably, like I say, he's closest to my twin in the sense that he is not just teaching ham radio, he's teaching skills, unconventional communication skills and tradecraft. And I really appreciate the work that he's doing. However, most of these guys are dealing with the technical ham radio side or building skills, but putting them all together, that was my vision for AmRRON. And many of these guys are doing what I had wanted to do, aspired to do, wanted to do training. And I've done a lot of training, but not in a circuit like kind of the groove that these guys have found themselves in because I started a network, and that was a whole, 2 jobs in and of itself. So I want to talk about that and what the goals are here with the new direction that we're taking the AmRRON channel. I have produced several videos in the past, but I want to be real intentional and purposeful in moving forward, leading from the front, and taking all of these technical skills, tactics, techniques, and procedures, what we call TTPs, putting them all together that can support the mission of keeping patriots connected in a grid down situation using unconventional communications. So we're going to talk about both grid up and grid down communications, security, OPSEC, COMSEC, and then disasters, grid down disasters. We've responded to numerous real world disasters and helped many people, and we've saved lives, literally. And then also we place emphasis on civil defense communications. If our country were invaded, or if there was a systemic collapse societally, politically, leaving a void, we want to help restore things by providing communications. And in all the real world disasters that we've deployed to or activated, the grid was always up somewhere. So that's why we incorporate grid up and grid down communications tools. So this video campaign is going to accomplish several goals for us. We are going to be uploading to YouTube and Rumble and provide interviews, reviews. We will be doing gear reviews and product reviews, but that's not going to be our main focus. The focus is going to be on gear and equipment that helps support the mission. And communications news. When something's breaking that could lead to an activation or some event that we need to pay particular interest in as emergency communications, if there's an unfolding event, we'll be able to break in and bring updates, possibly even live updates to cover things as we are approaching or entering into an emergency situation where unconventional communications are going to come in handy and be critical. We're going to be covering a lot of skills, gear, and TTPs for the beginner all the way up to advanced. And this is going to be helpful for folks that maybe you just bought your first Baofeng and you don't even know where to begin. We've left people behind because we have not been intentional about making sure that folks are trained, make sure they have resources, walk them through the steps, which is something that's going to be coming very soon, and that is going to be a prepper comms, beginner level, all the way from beginner to advanced. We'll be covering that, and we're also going to be doing videos on what, to steal a phrase from the Army, the TRADOC command, or Training and Doctrine command. This is what really helps narrow down your mission, your training, your focus, your purpose. Your doctrine is what drives you. It's by identifying what your mission is, what's your purpose, and then what type of training or equipment, TTPs, structure, how do you accomplish that? So what do you do? What's your purpose? How do you fulfill that? And then the why behind a lot of things, because that's really important to understand really why you're doing it. Because when we do deploy, and we deployed probably at least a dozen times or activated, but oftentimes for training and for real world events, we have deployed teams to respond to various different events or to simulate a real world event and deploy in a training exercise environment. The most recent deployment was Hurricane Helene, and we had numerous teams on the ground supporting the aid and relief workers. Some of these they were mostly work crews. They were running heavy equipment and chainsaws, clearing roads to get back into some of these remote and isolated areas and very mountainous terrain where there was not access to repeaters, or repeaters were taken out, or the repeater users were denying the use of them. So we were using HF communications and also some repeaters when we were able to. We'll be reviewing that as well. Another thing too that we want to get into and return to is field training exercises. This gets folks out in the field to put your gear to the test, find out what works, what doesn't, understand the limitations of your equipment, your power requirements, improvements that you need to make, adapters you need to get, another battery or a larger solar panel. These things are identified when you get out into the field and you actually put this to the test in a grid down environment. The other thing that it does, it really builds morale and esprit de corps, where you've got multiple operators all across the country participating in field training exercises where they are in this friendly competition with themselves and with each other, and some great team building. Even as an individual, you're connected to the rest of the network, and these go really a long way. We will be doing gear reviews, and like I mentioned, one of the pieces of equipment that supports the mission, there you see on the left, is the BTEC UV Pro. AmRRON has recently partnered with BTEC USA. We are looking at this particular model, the UV Pro, because of its multiple capabilities that we really could have used during our Hurricane Helene deployment. So we've got teams, we have a team of testing and evaluating operators across the country that are using the UV Pro radios and testing out all of the features. It's IP67 rated, so for field deployments, it's beautiful. It's shock resistant, dust proof, and immersion proof. So it meets those standards, but it also has a built-in GPS. It has a KISS TNC, and we'll explain more of that later if you don't understand what any of that means. But you can also connect to a smart device, a tablet or a phone, and use several apps that you can connect to this radio using Bluetooth and control the radio and have all of the features available to you at your fingertips in a smart device. So we are testing and evaluating that right now, and you can actually go to AmRRON.com. You'll see a posting there, BTEC AmRRON Endeavor. They're offering a 10% discount if you use the coupon code AmRRON. That'll save you 10%. Many of you who are not on the testing and evaluation team are taking advantage of that and kind of getting a jump on things, familiarizing yourself with the radio. But that and the apps are going to be video content here coming up pretty quickly. Our evaluator techs will be working with the techs at BTEC for their firmware developers, because they are extremely responsive and they want to hear the feedback. So we're putting together our wish list to say, could we get this app to have this capability? Could we add this firmware into the radio? We're identifying those things right now because we had teams deployed all over through the mountains. It would have been wonderful to have a portable repeater or a portable digipeater, that these radios would have given us that capability to be able to locate and track the locations of our teams and give situational awareness to all of the teams so they know where everyone else is. And real handy too, if you need to call in for a medevac, if somebody with a chainsaw or a piece of heavy equipment gets injured, then that would have given us that capability. As it was, we did have HF capability, but HF is temperamental and very subject to the band conditions at the time. So a VHF, UHF capability on the ground would have changed a lot of things. So we're looking at that. And then also, I look forward to doing more interviews. And this one right here was from just 2 weeks ago. I attended NC Scouts Signals Intelligence course. Outstanding. I had read his book, The Guerrilla Guide to Signals Intelligence. I hope there's a part 2. I wish the course was longer. It was a 3-day course. And I actually learned some things that I didn't know. And we got to get out there in the field and put it to the test, do some radio direction finding and so on. So there's a lot of subject matter experts out there we want to talk to, tap into, pull them in virtually or visit them. And it's always great to meet these guys face to face. So we have that to look forward to. And by the way, I will be posting that interview later in the week. So probably Friday, I'm shooting for that. I want to get the UV Pro first video out reviewing that radio and highlighting some of its features earlier in the week. The other thing I'm looking forward to bringing to you is some education and resources. We have a lot of folks, like I said, they buy their first piece of equipment, or they get their ham radio license, or they join AmRRON and they don't know really where to begin. And we want to fill that void to take the technical side of things and pull it together with practical operational guidance. How do you put this into practice as a network with other people, and you're not just a bunch of individuals playing with communications gear by yourself? You're actually part of a network and there's different levels that you can participate in. We'll put together these practical exercises. We'll be covering security and tradecraft and give you folks an opportunity with some practical exercises to put a lot of this to the test, all the way from beginner all the way to advanced level. I mentioned TTPs. This is really important that we understand exactly how you fill out a situation report, why you use a situation report, when would you use one, how do you properly format it, What is the standardized practice so that everybody's speaking the same language? This makes things more fluid, more understandable, less confusing, more organized and structured. And it just helps everybody in a real world emergency and the chaos of all of that. And we'll get into why we do some of the things that we do. As I mentioned earlier in the video, it's what your philosophy is, where your head's at toward why you're doing this, how it fits into your family, your group, or you as an individual, or the network, how emergency communications looks, and why we're doing what we do and how we go about doing it. So basically, I just want to wrap this up with a quick introduction to what our goals are and what our vision is here with the AmRRON channel. So I would just ask that you take, first of all, if you would, and I know you hear this all the time, like, subscribe, comment. There's a reason for that. We want to get this message out as quickly as we can. The deep state is not going away. The enemies of our country are already inside of our borders. There are nations outside of our borders that want to destroy us. They are planning for it. They're training for it. Nobody is coming to save us. We as citizens need to be self-reliant. We need to be networked with each other. We need to be ready to support our communities and the leadership in our communities that have our same goals, values, vision for restoring or defending and protecting and restoring America and our founding principles, our Constitution, our faith, the principles that make America so exceptional. And that's our contribution. The reason why you want to like, subscribe, share is because it feeds the algorithm for these video platforms and pushes it up higher for other prepper, patriots, radio operators looking interested in similar content. It will put it in front of them and it will get this message out further and these resources wider to a larger audience, so we can have as many people as possible trained up, effective, and ready when we face hardship at some point in the future. And I think it's coming, and I think you know that too. So with that, get your comms up. Nobody's coming to save us. It's on us. All right, this is John Jacob Schmidt, out.
As ready, trained communicators, right up to the present time, radio hams have been busy every single minute. The ever-increasing group of radio amateurs who have equipped themselves at their own expense with two-way radio sets by amateurs who saw their opportunity to render a public service and paid off for Americans in trouble.